Have you ever wondered why some elderly monks and nuns can walk with steady steps, speak with bright clarity, and radiate a peaceful energy even in their 80s and 90s, while many younger people already feel heavy, tired, and foggy? Have you ever asked yourself why one of the most basic yet most challenging disciplines in traditional Buddhist practice is something as simple as not eating afternoon, and whether this rule is really just about controlling food, or actually about opening a completely different way of living and thinking? Welcome back to the channel, my friend. I'm really glad you are here. Today we are going to explore a practice that many people have heard of. Some have tried for a short time, but very few truly understand deeply. The ancient discipline of no eating afternoon. On the surface, it looks like a dietary rule. In the heart of the teachings, it is about energy, desire, awareness, karma, compassion, and the whole direction of your life. You're going to walk through this in a very human, story-based way. You will talk about the young novice who kept wondering why his mind was always foggy, the lay practitioners who was terrified of being hungry at night, the modern person who uses food as emotional comfort, and the old master who quietly revealed that this one discipline can turn the mouth from a door of craving into a door of awakening. Along the way, we will look at the deeper relationship between the body and the mind, how desire gains spiritual power, why simplicity is not punishment but liberation, and how a clear body can become a foundation for a clear mind and a compassionate heart. So let us start with a very simple but powerful scene. Imagine a monastery in the mountains. The air is cool and clean. In the early morning, the bell rings, and the sound echoes through the valley. Monks gather in the hall to chant. Among them is a young novice, about 15 or 16 years old. On the outside he looks sincere. He bows. He chants. He tries to sit straight during meditation. But inside, he is struggling. Ring chanting. His voice becomes dull. Ring meditation. His head nods forward again and again, as sleepiness pulls him down. When he tries to focus on the sacred name, his mind becomes thick, heavy, like a foggy window. He looks around and sees older monks sitting upright, eyes clear, breath steady. He feels ashamed and frustrated. One day, after yet another session of half-sleeping through meditation, he gathers his courage and goes to see the old abbot, an elderly monk with kind but piercing eyes. Someone like Master Maolan. With a troubled face, the novice says, "Master, I chant but I cannot stay clear. I sit but I cannot stay awake. My mind is dull. My body is heavy. Feel like I am not meant for this path. Maybe my spiritual capacity is too low." The old master looks at him for a long moment. His eyes are gentle but very awake, and he nods and shakes his head at the same time. He nods as if to say, "Yes, something is not going well." He shakes his head as if to say, "But the problem is not what you think." Finally, the master asks, "In the afternoon and evening, what do you eat?" The novice lowers his eyes. In a small voice, he admits, "I sometimes eat a little fruit, drinks and milk, have a few biscuits, sometimes some leftovers from lunch, not a big meal, just something small." The master smiles slightly. "Small for you?" He asks softly, "Small for your mouth, or small for your practice?" And he says a sentence that the novice will remember for the rest of his life. "Your problem is not that your mind is weak. Your problem is that your stomach is too strong." With those words, he lifts the conversation from vague self-blame to a very concrete cause. The young monk feels confused. He thought that spiritual problems must have deep spiritual reasons. He did not expect his sleepy meditation to have anything to do with what he ate afternoon. The master continues, "When the body is too full, the mind becomes heavy. When the mind is heavy, your awareness cannot rise. It is like trying to fly with wet wings." The discipline of no eating afternoon is not some strange rule meant to deprive you. It is a way of freeing your energy from the prison of constant digestion and desire. And he gives the novice a challenge for the next 49 days, called the rule of no eating afternoon completely. No fruit, no milk, no biscuits, nothing. Just water and maybe plain tea. During these days, also keep your practice steady, and come back and tell me how you feel. The first few afternoons are hard. At 4 or 5 in the afternoon, the novice's stomach begins to complain. He looks at the clock. He smells the scent of food drifting from the kitchen as the lay people prepare their dinner. His mind starts telling stories. And so hungry, will faint, will not have enough strength, will not be able to get up tomorrow. It isn't fair. But he remembers the master's eyes, steady and compassionate. He grates his teeth, drinks some water, and tries to observe what is really happening inside. He discovers something surprising. The physical sensation of hunger rises, peaks, and then slowly decreases. It comes in waves. It is uncomfortable, but it does not kill him. What really drives him crazy is not the sensation itself, but the thoughts around it. The fear, the complaining, the images of food, the craving for comfort. Night after night, as he stays with the hunger instead of immediately answering its demand, he begins to see it more clearly. Hunger is not only in the stomach. There is also a hunger in the heart. Hunger for sweetness, for stimulation, for distraction, for reward. The no-eating afternoon discipline is forcing Lin to face that deeper hunger. On the 10th day, something begins to shift. In the evening meditation, he notices that his body feels lighter, his breathing is smoother, his head no longer falls forward so easily. His mind is still not perfectly calm, but the thick fog has started to lift. It is as if someone has opened a window in a stuffy room. At the 20th day, he notices that his dreams are clear. He wakes up in the morning feeling more refreshed. Ring chanting, his voice is more stable. Ring walking meditation, Liz's steps feel more grounded. At the end of 49 days, he goes back to the master and says, "Master, you were right. I still have many thoughts, but my mind is far less sleepy. My heart feels lighter. The evenings are no longer a battle with food. Something inside has become more free." The master smiles and says, "Now you have tasted just one small part of what this discipline really means." This story reveals a simple but profound truth. The discipline of not eating afternoon is not just about reducing calories. It is about redirecting energy, facing desire, and training the mind to be the master of the body, not the slave of the mouth. To understand this more deeply, we have to look at the relationship between the body and the mind. In spiritual traditions, the body is sometimes called a vehicle. It is the car that carries the passenger, which is consciousness. If the car is heavy, overloaded, and poorly maintained, the journey is hard. The engine overheats, the wheels slip, the driver cannot go very far or very fast. When you eat a lot, especially heavy food late in the day, the body has to work hard to digest. Blood flows to the stomach, the nervous system slows, the mind becomes dull. You feel sleepy, slow, thick. This might be fine in a life where your main goal is just to survive and enjoy small pleasures. But if your goal is to awaken, to refine awareness, to see through illusions, that heaviness becomes a serious obstacle. Awaiting afternoon lightens the load. It gives the body long hours every day when it is not busy processing the food. At rest allows the system to clear itself. The energy that would have gone into digestion is freed for another purpose, for clarity, for meditation, for deeper perception. On a physical level, many people who try this discipline discover that their sleep improves, their morning energy becomes stronger, their physical agility increases, and various minor problems like constant bloating or sluggishness become less intense. But the real magic is not in the body alone. It is in what happens to the mind when the body is not constantly comforted and distracted with food. In modern life, many people do not realize how often they eat not because the body truly needs fuel, but because the heart needs distraction. You feel lonely at night, so you open the fridge. You feel stressed after a hard day, so you reach for snacks. You feel bored, so you chew on something while watching the screen. You feel sad, so you order a rich dessert as a small reward. In all these moments, the stomach becomes a substitute for the heart. Food becomes a bandage placed over emotional wounds. The discipline of no eating afternoon gently but firmly removes that bandage, at least for the hours after Monday. It says to you, tonight, You will not run to the kitchen every time a feeling rises. You will have to meet yourself. You will have to feel the emptiness, the boredom, the restlessness, the sadness. First, this can feel unbearable. A mind protests. It tells you 1,000 reasons why this rule is unreasonable, unhealthy, or impossible. It will say things like, I need energy. I will get stomach acid. I will lack nutrition. My job is demanding. Some of these concerns may be valid in specific medical cases, and of course anyone with serious health conditions should be careful and seek proper guidance. But often, if we are honest, our resistance is not about health. It is about addiction to comfort. Here is a lay practitioner who once confessed something very honest. When he first read about the rule of no eating afternoon, he felt a wave of fear. He loved food. He loved late night snacks. The idea of not eating dinner felt like cutting away one of his greatest joys. He even felt a little angry, thinking, why would any path require something so difficult? A curiosity and faith pushed him to try. He set a period of 3 months. For 3 months, he would eat breakfast and lunch, and then stop. For the first week, Lee felt miserable in the evenings. He drank water, paced around the house, and argued with himself in his head. But something interesting happened. He noticed that the time he used to spend preparing, eating, and cleaning up dinner now became free. Instead of filling it with new distractions, he decided to use at least part of it for quiet sitting and recitation. At first, he sat restlessly on the cushion, thinking more about food than about practice. But slowly, as the weeks passed, his relationship with evening changed. The hunger sensation became familiar, almost like a background sound. His attention turned more toward his breath than toward the sacred words on his lips. He began to feel a subtle joy in the simplicity of his schedule. Morning and midday for work and food, afternoon and evening for practice and rest. At the end of 3 months, he realized that his fear of no eating afternoon had been far larger than the actual difficulty. Not only was Lee still alive, he felt lighter, clearer, more focused. His mind during meditation was less clouded. His body felt less heavy. He said, what I thought was the most cruel rule turned out to be the most loving gift. This is a key point. From the outside, spiritual disciplines can look like punishment. You not eat after this time. You not indulge in that. You not entertain this desire. Ego, which is used to chasing pleasure, interprets these instructions as someone trying to steal its happiness. From the inside, when you really walk the discipline with understanding, you discover that it is not trying to take joy away from you. It is trying to free you from a narrow, fragile kind of joy so that a deeper, more stable joy can rise. The joy of a clear mind. The joy of a light body. The joy of an open heart that is not constantly chasing the next taste. One old master once said, it is difficult to talk about emptiness, compassion, or deep meditation to someone whose whole day is built around eating, whose main happiness is in the mouth, not because such a person is bad, but because all their energy is rotating around a very small circle. The discipline of no eating afternoon breaks that circle. It interrupts the pattern. It invites the practitioner to discover other sources of fulfillment. Let us look at the deeper symbolic meaning of this rule. A day, in many traditions, is seen as a turning point. Morning is the rising, the gathering of energy. When is the peak. Afternoon is the gentle decline. At is rest. Eat afternoon is not a sin. To make a habit of having meals late into the evening goes against the natural rhythm of the body. The stomach must work when the rest of the system wants to slow down. Your organs never truly rest. Over time, this strains the body. From a spiritual point of view, the decision to stop eating at noon is the decision to align yourself with a simpler, more natural rhythm. You fill the body while the sun is light. Then you let the system settle down as light softens. You choose not to add more fuel to the fire when it is already burning enough. There is also a beautiful symbolic layer. Morning and noon represent the gathering of external support, taking what you need from life. Afternoon and evening represent turning inward, digesting not only food but also experience. When you do not eat in the later part of the day, you are signaling to your mind, now is the time to digest the day's experiences, not to chase new stimulation. You create a space for reflection, gratitude, repentance if needed, and contemplation. This way, a eating afternoon supports essential spiritual qualities. It helps awakening, because a light body allows the mind to be more awake. It deepens wisdom, because it confronts the illusion that comfort equals happiness. It clarifies karma, because it makes you see how many of your actions are driven by craving. It cultivates compassion, because you taste hunger and become more sensitive to the hunger of others and to the suffering of animals exploited for food. It strengthens discipline, because it trains you to keep a promise even when impulses scream for exception. It shapes destiny, because it transforms the way you meet each day, each night, each desire. Of course, the question many people have is, do I have to do this discipline to be a true practitioner? The answer depends on your situation and life. Monastic life, it is a foundational rule for lay people with family responsibilities, work schedules, and health variations. Strict no-eating afternoon may not always be realistic, but the principle behind it is universally valuable, and you can apply it in various ways. For example, you might not be able to skip dinner completely, but you can make it lighter, simpler, and earlier. You can avoid heavy late-night meals that make your sleep and meditation heavy. You can reduce mindless snacking, especially in the evening when cravings are more emotional than physical. You can choose 1 or 2 days a week to eat more like a monastic schedule, using those days as special practice days. You can cultivate awareness around eating itself. Before you put food in your mouth, pause and ask, am I truly hungry? Or is my heart seeking comfort? What am I really looking for right now? You can remember that the purpose is not to torture the body, but to free the mind. Another important aspect is to shift your understanding of hunger. Many people are terrified of feeling even slightly hungry. Any empty feeling in the stomach triggers panic, as if something terrible is happening. But if you observe hunger without immediately obeying it, you may discover that it is not as solid as it seems. Rises, it changes, it fades, it comes back. Some spiritual teachers even say that learning to sit calmly with mild hunger is a powerful way of training the mind to sit with all forms of craving. Because hunger is just one form of craving. There is craving for praise, craving for comfort, craving for approval, craving for distraction, craving for pleasure. When you can meet the craving for food with awareness and patience, you develop muscles that help you meet all cravings. Instead of immediately reaching out to satisfy every desire, you learn to pause, breathe, and decide. You see the desire rise. You feel it fully. You watch it shift. This is directly connected to the heart of spiritual awakening. Ignorance, in many teachings, is described as not seeing the true nature of experience. We believe every urge we feel is a command. We believe every thought is true. We believe every craving must be answered. Clarity rises when we begin to see that sensations, thoughts, and desires are waves in the mind. They are not permanent. They are not the deepest truth. We can observe them without automatically obeying them. The discipline of no-eating afternoon gives you a daily, concrete opportunity to practice this. Every afternoon, your body will send messages. Every night, your habit will send arguments. Each time you choose awareness over automatic reaction, you move one step closer to freedom. Let us also talk honestly about the fear that without evening food, you will not have enough strength to function. There are people who do very heavy physical labor or have medical conditions that genuinely require a different schedule. They should listen carefully to their bodies and doctors. But many of us do not belong to that group. Our daily work might be mostly mental or moderately physical. We often eat far more than our actual physical needs. And you reduce evening eating gradually and respectfully. The body usually adapts. It becomes more efficient at using what it receives earlier in the day. Over time, you may find that your actual need is less than you thought. There are countless stories of monks, nuns, and lay practitioners who live full, active lives with 1 or 2 meals a day. They are not weak. Often they radiate an inner glow that well-fed but spiritually starving people cannot imagine. That glow does not come from calorie restriction alone. It comes from a certain purity and simplicity. The body is not overloaded. The mind is not prank on taste. The heart is quietly satisfied. In a world that often equates abundance with happiness, voluntarily choosing life can look strange. But remember, more is not always better. More possessions can bring more worry. More stimulation can bring more exhaustion. More food can bring more heaviness. There is a wisdom in enough. A waiting afternoon is one specific form of practicing the enough. Enough in the morning. Enough at midday. No need to keep stuffing when the day is turning inward. This practice also has a deep connection with compassion for other beings. When you eat less, especially in the evening when we tend to indulge in rich and necessary foods, you reduce the demand that drives massive food industries, including the suffering of animals. When you know hunger even a little, your heart is more open to those who do not choose hunger but are forced into it by poverty or war. When you experience that peace and clarity can rise even in a body that is not constantly filled, you realize that your happiness is not as dependent on consumption as the world taught you. That realization can loosen the grip of greed, not only around food but around money, status, and possessions. Greed always says, "I need more, I need more, I need more." Wisdom quietly says, "I have enough to practice, enough to live, enough to live." The discipline of no eating afternoon is one way to move from the voice of greed to the voice of wisdom. Now, how can you approach this practically if you feel inspired but also nervous? You can start with small, realistic steps. Perhaps you decide that for 1 month, you will finish eating by the evening, and avoid any food after that. See how your sleep, your greens, your meditation, and your morning energy change. If that goes well, you might choose 1 day a week to follow a more monastic schedule of breakfast and lunch only. Use that day not just to skip dinner, but to invest the extra time and energy into spiritual practice, reading, contemplation, or service. You can also pay attention to what you eat, but only when heavy, greasy, overly rich food will make any schedule harder. Simple, clean food supports clarity. You can consciously transform your relationship with the feeling of hunger. Instead of seeing it as an enemy, you can treat it as a bell of mindfulness. When hunger rises, you can say to yourself, "Here is a wave of craving. Let me breathe. Let me watch it. Let me remember why I practice." Even if you eventually decide to eat, the period in which you observe the hunger before acting is already spiritual training. The key is to understand that no eating afternoon is not about proving you are strong. It is about discovering where your real strength comes from. Many people think their strength comes from constant external input, from food, from caffeine, from stimulation. When these are removed, they feel empty. That emptiness is painful because it reveals how much they have been depending on external things to cover an inner hollow. When you gently take away some of those external props, at least during certain hours, you have the chance to discover another kind of energy. The quiet energy of presence, of awareness, of inner connection. There is a reason why so many ancient sages, not only in one tradition but across cultures, valued simplicity in eating. They knew that a human being who is not enslaved by the time can see more clearly, live more steadily, and die more peacefully. Imagine yourself at the end of your life. At that moment, all the dinners you ate will not matter much. What will matter is the clarity of your mind, the softness of your heart, and the direction of your consciousness. The discipline of no eating afternoon, if practiced with understanding, can support all three. It can help your mind to be clearer because your body has been kept lighter. It can help your heart to be softer, because you have trained yourself not to answer every desire immediately, which makes you more humble and compassionate. It can help the direction of your consciousness, because you have practiced again and again turning from outer satisfaction to inner awareness. So the next time you hear about this seemingly strict rule, you might see it differently. Not as a harsh command, but as an invitation. Invitation to life with a lighter body. An invitation to think with a clearer mind. An invitation to love with a freer heart. Not everyone will choose to walk this path in its strictest form. That is okay. Let everyone can learn something from it. Maybe the lesson for you is to reduce unnecessary indulgence. Maybe it is to face your emotional hunger more honestly. Maybe it is to remember that your mouth is one of the main gates through which karma enters your life, and that how you use it, both in speech and in eating, quietly shapes your destiny. At the deepest level, this practice is about awakening from the dream that more consumption equals more happiness. Asks you, what do you really want? A life where you constantly feed the body but starve the soul. Or a life where you care for the body wisely while feeding the soul with clarity, compassion, and wisdom. As we come toward the close of this reflection, I invite you to gently feel your own body right now. Maybe you are listening after a meal. Maybe you are listening while feeling hungry. Either way, notice the sensations in your stomach, your chest, your throat. Notice any desire for comfort, any fear of discomfort, any stories that rise up when you think about changing your eating habits. And ask yourself quietly, what small step can I take in the direction of more simplicity, more awareness, more freedom? It does not have to be drastic. It just has to be sincere. If this talk resonated with you, if you have ever been curious or afraid of the discipline of not eating after noon, I warmly invite you to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments. Perhaps you have already tried a simple eating schedule. Perhaps you have questions or worries. Perhaps you have your own story of how changing your relationship with food changed your mind and your heart. Your sharing might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to take their first step. And if you want to keep exploring these deep connections between daily habits and awakening, between body and mind, between desire, karma, compassion, and destiny, remember to subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, and turn on notifications so you will not miss future long-form reflections. If you feel called to support this work more directly, you can also consider joining as a member. Your support helps us continue to create sincere, thoughtful content for you, and for many others quietly walking this path. Thank you for staying with me all the way until now, for your openness to look at something as ordinary as eating with spiritual eyes. Until next time, may your body become lighter without becoming weak. May your mind become clearer without becoming cold. And may every choice you make with your mouth, in words and in food, guide you toward greater wisdom, compassion, and freedom.
There comes a time when you realize you want something that belongs just to you, something that brings comfort and keeps you connected to your inner world. Wall-crafted bracelet does exactly that. Quietly, softly, and consistently. If you felt drawn to any bracelet in this video, you'll find the purchase link in the video description, and many more auctions in the channel storefront. Because sometimes the smallest item can bring the biggest sense of peace.